Hello, everybody. It is January the 31st, 2021, right here on the Wrestleview YouTube channel. Hello, I am Doug Lackey, veteran columnist of Wrestleview.com and the host of Wrestleview Weekly that you would see here on the Wrestleview YouTube channel every Sunday afternoon at 5 o'clock. But not this week, because this week we're doing the post-show. It was supposed to be a watch-along, but get over it. We're doing a post-show of the Rumble of Royalty, the Royal Rumbles of the men's and the women's and all the matches that happened in between that they didn't tell us about. We're going to talk about them anyway. So, yeah, how are you? I'm doing great and pleasantly surprised about this show. And I know the dude who co-hosts with me about this is going to be probably having those same sentiments as well. He is the effervescent editor-in-chief of Wrestleview.com. He is the co-host of the Post-Raw Recap alongside his wife, Queen Victoria, and Princess Liliana. He is Mike Tedesco. Mikey, what say you?
Oh, Doug. What a great intro. I missed your intros. Not doing these shows. I miss those it being called effervescent. I think you're the only person that refers to me like that. Yeah. And I think more people should refer to me like that.
The thing is, I think I'm doing a great service not looking up the definition of what effervescent means. I just like the sound of that word.
I'm doing the same thing too. Like not looking that up, but it sounds it's of liquid giving off bubbles, fizzy. Am I fizzy, hun? Fizzy. No, I got a scowl. I am not fizzy, but yeah, I think I give off bubbles.
Like we're trying to figure out what the word effervescent means, but we're too lazy to look it up on dictionary. So you all look it up.
Vivacious and enthusiastic, which is exactly how I feel about this show tonight, Doug.
Yes.
Very vivacious, very enthusiastic.
Yeah. Can we? Wow. Yeah. Before, gosh, there's a lot of stuff we do want to talk about with this show. Pleasant. Yeah. I can't believe, and we're smiling talking about this, which I am shocked about.
It's been a long time coming.
Oh, yes, it has. But before we do that, we've got to get the pleasantries out of the way first. If you're in the chat room now, you say wee. If you're not in the chat room, there's not a damn thing I can do about that. Who all is in the chat room right now? Let it be known right now, because I will probably forget your name if you don't do it right now. I see one Alacron. I see Nafis. I see Randy. I see Andrew. I see Tyler. I see Daniel. I see Jamel. I see Mediocre Lewis. I see Grash. No, sexy hunk of man meat Lewis is not here right now. Not yet, anyway. I see Kobe. I see Demetrius. I see Quentin. I see Graham says we. I am Alpha. You don't know how to announce yourself here. You say we. God damn it. All right. Woo. We got a good chat room going on right now. I am so happy. And yes, Mashoon says we. And Roy is in there. He's going we. Oh, okay. Man. Full chat room today, because quite frankly, let's just go to the split screen here. Let's go to the GIF of the Edges throwing up the horns, staring at the sign. All right.
Yeah.
I guess first off, I guess we always start off these post pay-per-view recaps. Saying every podcast in the wrestling world always talks about stuff that's wrong with the show. There's something wrong. They bitch about something. But the very first thing we do here is we talk about a good thing. What is one good thing that we could take away from this pay-per-view? Mike, I don't know if it's a laundry list or if it's just going to be one ambiguous statement that encompasses the laundry list.
I could give you a laundry list, but I'm gonna go with something that's not so obvious, but really just made me so hopeful. And I've been looking for a reason to be hopeful as I watch Raw. I watch SmackDown. I'm like, okay, like things can be good in this company. And then you watch Raw, and it's like it's just been this horrific dumpster fire of
Yeah.
a television program, and it's gotten to the point where I'm like, why do I still do this? And people are like, it's so easy to say like, oh well, if you don't like it, just don't do it. It's like, oh, go scratch. That's such a pussy little answer, but
It's
the
what you
women's
do. Yeah.
The women's Royal Rumble just made me so happy, so excited,
Really?
so hopeful.
Really?
I like for months, maybe years, Doug, I've been saying intermittently on my post-Raw show, especially when they bring back Bill Goldberg, on
Sure.
Raw Legends Night, and it's like he's getting a WWE Championship match. It's like, for once, can we just fucking build somebody up and just go with what we've got? Can we not try to, pull the wool over everyone's eyes and say like, oh, WrestleMania did so great this year. Meanwhile, it's like, The Rock versus John Cena, or Undertaker's coming back for the millionth time, or they have Sting, or they did some kind of hokey little thing. We got Brock Lesnar in the main event, but like nobody that they're, committed to. Nobody that's been there all year, where it's like, okay, we've watched the progression of this person, and now they're getting to WrestleMania, and they're getting fed to Bill Goldberg. They're getting fed to so-and-so. It doesn't. They never, ever in this company, not in the last couple of years, go with what they got. And here, the final two in the Royal Rumble are two of their youngest stars. And I'm talking about the women's Royal Rumble. Two of their youngest stars, because the men's Royal Rumble was two of their oldest stars, but that's okay because the story was very straightforward and beautiful and well told. But the women's Royal Rumble, you have Bianca Belair and you have Rhea Ripley. And they're the final two. There's no, hijinks. It's not like Trish Stratus is going to come out and eliminate them, or Charlotte Flair was hiding under the ring apron, and here she comes to, eliminate Bianca Belair, and oh look, we surprised them all. No, none of that. They actually went with their young talents and let them showcase what they can do. And Doug, they knocked it out of the fucking park. Like, that was a totally dramatic, awesome ending to the Royal Rumble, the women's Royal Rumble. When Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair are hanging on the bottom rope, and you think about the journey of Rhea Ripley in general, who got called up last year, was, had a good showing in last year's Royal Rumble, has a WrestleMania match against Charlotte Flair, and really, really showed something in that match. Really, really showed something. And what happened? Nothing. She was sent. She was back on the gold and black brand, or black and gold, whatever they ordered them.
They shipped Charlotte over there. She's on all 3 shows.
Right. And Rhea Ripley, it's like, okay, you can lose at WrestleMania. That's totally fine. It means nothing. It's a match on a show. It's what you do with it after, right? And they didn't do anything. That was the last time that Rhea Ripley was on was on Raw or SmackDown or anything. She went back and she languished down there. She really wasn't doing anything. She was appearing, every couple of weeks and involved in feuds with Raquel Gonzalez, which, while they were good, it was a big step back from where she was. She never got that win back from Charlotte Flair.
I think they stepped her down.
Charlotte lost the NXT Women's Championship.
They stepped her down. She had some kind of program going on with Robert Stone.
Yes,
is what it was when she first came back.
That's it. Well, that was after the triple threat at the In Your House,
right?
Where she got pinned, not Charlotte, Rhea, and it's like, well, what did she do? Like, what did she do wrong? And she talked about it in interviews. That really fucked with my brain. Like I thought I was doing everything right. I thought that I was getting this big push, and they have me in Raymond James Stadium, doing these interviews, and you think you're getting the rocket strapped to your back, and I thought I had a good match at WrestleMania, and then nothing. And she goes, that really fucked with my brain. So you think about like that whole entire this year-long progression of uncertainty and having to fight back and build yourself back up, or let them figure out what the hell to do with you again. And now she's back here tonight. She's in the final two with Bianca Belair, another young star, And you think they were wrestling each other at TakeOver last year in Portland. And now look at them. They're the final two. They had an unbelievable exchange for the final two in the Rumble. And I was like, God damn it. Like, finally, they have gone with their young stars. No fucking tricks. No, extra, third door being opened up and, oh, big surprise. Nothing. They went with them. They did an excellent job. And I'm hoping that this is the beginning of a turnaround for this company where they actually, because there's no more legends, Doug. There's no more. Who else is out there? Taker's retired. Mick Foley can't do anything. Sting is with AEW. Who else is out there? Goldberg was gassed after a 4-minute fuck match. I mean, it's like, how much longer can we ride the Goldberg train? Brock Lesnar's not coming. There's no reason to bring Brock Lesnar back without a crowd. So you got to go with what you got. Yeah. And it's okay. And I'm hoping that they see, like, you know what? Enough with this legend shit. We've been doing this for too long. We have to get back to the business of building stars. And they built 2 stars. One of them they rehabbed and rebuilt. The other one is a true star being born in Bianca Belair. Man, Doug, I'm fucking excited about that. And that just pumped me up, man. I'm ready to recap Raw tomorrow. I'm excited.
Oh boy, we're gonna remember this time because we damn well know 24 hours from now you're gonna be a completely different person now.
Well, let me also say this: they had a couple opportunities here to really fuck this thing up.
Oh yeah,
Alexa Bliss coming out at number 27, and then she's doing the fucking transition thing, and Rhea Ripley eliminates her. I was like, oh, thank you, God. Thank you. Oh, beautiful. She was in for 3 seconds. They didn't go too far with it because I was like, oh, my God, Alexa Bliss is going to come out and they're going to fucking set the ring on fire. It's going to be worms and this shit. Yeah. And then Orton being the final one eliminated by Edge. I really thought Orton was going to eliminate Edge after he hit the RKO. I was like, oh, my God. And then the ring's going to set on fire and there's going to be fucking Fiend. They didn't do any bullshit tonight. It was a straightforward, regular show, and that doesn't mean it's boring. It just it was a wrestling show. That's at the crux of like just what people want to see when you tune into this show. I don't want to see a D-list fucking stupid horror movie. I want to see wrestling. I don't want to see fucking, he has a pain glove and a happy glove, and he jerks himself off with both of them, and one of them is really hurts, and the other one feels really good. It's like, I don't care. I don't care. It was cute for the people that look for cute things, but on TV to the fucking average fan doesn't translate, and it's stupid.
I'm going to piggyback to my number one thing, my thing that I loved, that I appreciated. And it's going right off of what you said. I had the biggest fear for this show that we were going to have cinematic Royal Rumble matches. I was afraid that we were going to be seeing some Fiend bullshit. Lots of Fiend bullshit. All right, I had Alexa Bliss winning the Women's Royal Rumble match. I was fearing it. I was fearing it big time. Even though I picked Daniel Bryan to win the Royal Rumble match on the men's side, I still had the fear that entrant number 30 was going to be the Fiend. And there you go. And so we were going to have cinematic bullshit throughout the best matches, the matches that we love the most from the WWE. This is the match we love. And this is the match that always brings people back into the fold. This is what brings people back who have not been watching wrestling for 6 months, a year, 2, 3 years. They always come back to the Royal Rumble. You can never do wrong bringing people back into the fold with the Royal Rumble match. And it was this year that I was afraid this was going to be the worst Royal Rumble we were ever going to see. Only because of cinematic horror movie bullshit. But thank God we didn't get it. I am so glad we didn't get it. When Alexa Bliss, the screen's going off, I'm going, shit, here we go. But then, here comes Rhea, toss her off the top. I'm going, I don't mark out that much. I usually laugh. I just laugh. But she tossed her off, I went, God damn yeah. All right. We're getting a wrestling show. I am not going to get any slasher horror. I'm not getting a sci-fi channel horror movie that's airing at 1 in the morning. Nah, I'm getting the Royal Rumble. Thank God. Oh, that's what made me feel good throughout the show.
Yeah.
Now, there are
Same wavelength.
Now, there are little qualms here and there that I have with the Rumble matches, and it has more to do, okay, now we're going to get back, and we may bitch a little bit. But these are happy luxuries, okay? There's nothing wrong with this. But there are some entrants to the Women's Rumble match in particular that I'm questioning. All right, some that were in this match. First off, Legend cameos, we sigh and go, oh, crap, here we go. You know, when Lita or Trish Stratus or, Kelly, you're going,
There's at least one legend that came back that I know you were happy to see.
Oh, Jillian coming back. You sign me up right now. Oh, her with Billy Kay down on the ramp. Billy and Jilly. Yeah, let's do Billy and Jilly. Okay, I got no problem.
I hear you from North Carolina in your brand new home. I honestly thought I could hear you.
Yeah, I have no problem with Jillian. Okay, I got no problem with legends that return that are like, niche legends. But did we really need the others? Like Mickie James. Don't get me wrong. Mickie James is okay. But did we need Mickie James?
I don't know if she's active or if she's a legend. It's like, she's still on the Raw roster.
Yeah.
Alicia Fox is decidedly a legend now, right?
Yeah.
Like, totally, like, that is stretching the definition of legend to the farthest.
Tori Wilson. Is Tori Wilson a legend?
She's a Hall of Famer.
Okay, but Tori Wilson?
No, I'm with you, Doug. I'm just saying she's a Hall of Famer.
Okay. I mean,
I'm just
yes,
saying that,
and Victoria. Victoria. Did we? I mean, let me.
Hey, she was cool to us in Chicago, Doug. She was cool to us.
Oh yeah, she was cool in Chicago. Look, I guess what I'm trying to say is, there are women on WWE's roster that they could have had in this match and showcased them somewhat. But there are some women that are on their roster they should have not had in this match. Why in the hell was Santana Garrett in this match?
I think that was a direct result of the Mia Yim thing.
Yeah, I figured. But
I think that there was no Keith Lee tonight.
Right.
There was a few people missing. That's why you have the Hurricane coming in as a producer, recreating the same exact spot he's done in like five different Royal Rumbles. The double choke slam thing. Then for the two big guys, and he gets eliminated. Even though this was the most vicious elimination that I've seen him take yet.
Mm-hmm.
I think that there was Santana Garrett. As soon as she came out, I was like, that's the Mia Yim thing.
But Santana Garrett is who we pick, though? Couldn't we have had, say, I don't know, Xia Li? She hasn't been on TV in 2 weeks. You've repackaged her. And you haven't shown her yet.
You don't want to do it with that gimmick yet.
You couldn't have, say, Casey Catanzaro?
Yes, you could have definitely done that.
Caden Carter.
I think if you're going to use Casey Catanzaro, if you like Mia Yim announced on Saturday, let's just let's just try to put ourselves in the producer's heads.
Sure.
She announced this on Saturday. That's when she got diagnosed around noon yesterday that she had COVID. So chances are, Doug, they've probably been there since Friday planning this thing out. They do rehearsals and all that stuff, and it's like, well, fuck, Mia Yim is out. Who do we have that is completely expendable, that isn't going to have to, because if they bring in Casey, she did those neat little Kofi Kingston non-elimination things. Now we have to find a way to fit that into the match. No, we don't want to use Casey. We got her in the Dusty Classic or whatever, with Caden Carter. We're pushing her. We're not doing anything with this girl, though. Santana Garrett, I haven't seen her on television forever.
Yeah.
Other than to be squashed.
She's not even on the roster.
Right. Like you don't want to burn Candice, you don't want to burn Raquel Gonzalez.
No.
Like, especially, when you have to just throw them in there and just tell them, like, if you notice, like, Santana Garrett, even when she came in, she, like, they didn't know what she was going to be doing. Like, she went for, I think, a handspring back elbow and just like, it just looked like it was like a total surprise to whoever was taking it. She was just there. She did one thing and she was gone. It was just like fill in a spot, get out. That's all.
But I
can't imagine what it was like to book this match in time of COVID.
Oh God, no.
Because it's not like, when I was watching that Yokozuna thing while I was setting up here, and it's like, they're showing the 93 Rumble where it's just like, all right, well, Bob Backlund's going to go in there for fucking 55 minutes and he's just going to be putting people in hammerlocks the entire time. There's like no thought behind it. Okay, you're just going to be out there and you're going to go here, but just do stuff in between. Now everything is like so specially choreographed, right to the buzzer. It's like, exactly everything that's going to happen. Boom, boom, boom for this entire 50 minutes to an hour. Just throw Santana in there. You don't burn anybody else.
Yeah. And by the way, if you haven't seen the Icons Yokozuna documentary, do it. Oh,
I can't finish it.
Oh, it's very good. It is very, very good. And not just coming from someone saying, "Oh, I remember." No, it is very good. Gives you a really great detailed history on the Anoa'i family.
Absolutely. And it's a real, it's like one of those things that, like, that's what I love about these documentaries. They can really stand on their own. It doesn't have to just be a wrestling documentary. It's like a Dateline show. It's like, there's like some, sad story at the end of it, and you get to understand the real human behind it. So it's not like, you have to be a wrestling fan to enjoy it. Anybody could watch this and be connected to that story. Yeah. And they should do more stuff like that.
Oh yeah. We talked a lot about women's Royal Rumble. Now to the men's Royal Rumble. Let me see. Let's start this off with, every year for the past 5 years, Carlito has been rumored to be in the Royal Rumble match, and he finally shows up.
Oh my God, juiced to the fucking gills, Doug.
Are you kidding me?
Gills. Oh my God.
Yeah.
He was more gassed than Goldberg, and I'm talking about a different gas for Goldberg though.
Yeah, this guy.
You can tell that they don't test part-timers.
No, not at all. No. I mean, that you're only allowed to give him one test, and you give him the important one. Okay? Jeez. Is this just a one-time thing? Is this a one-time thing?
From what I understand, it's kind of like, I think this is going to wind up, although, Carlito, I don't know how he's been lately. I've actually met Carlito. He's a very nice guy.
Oh, yeah.
I interviewed him for something back in 2010. It was really cool. He was a great guy, but he had a bad attitude. That's why he wound up, being nowhere or wrestling in, Puerto Rico, but and that's great. He's doing things with his father's promotion, stuff like that, but it's below where he was and what he could be. He's got an attitude issue. From what I understand, he's looking to, now that he's 40 years old or so, he's looking to, get into producing for WWE. So maybe it's going to wind up being a thing where like MVP started off on the producer route, and then he actually wound up becoming a character because of COVID.
Because I figured he's trying to rebuild bridges, is what it seems like, and he understands where the placing was for him and where the placing is for him now. Yeah. And also being there at his father's promotion down there in Puerto Rico could definitely help him when it comes to being on that producer and booking side and creative writing side. I am really curious about if he is now like the second iteration of MVP going on with this roster. I don't know.
I'd love to see the Cabana come back.
I would whatever function he's going to serve, I just hope that those bridges that he's rebuilding get some double braces. Okay, and that he understands what it is now, Yeah. But I would think, youthful mistakes, Men's Royal Rumble match, though. So if Mia Yim was the, as a scratch off because of COVID, And Keith Lee was a scratch off because of COVID. He's probably being quarantined and everything. So who was entered into the men's Royal Rumble match to take the place of Keith Lee?
I would say the Hurricane.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say it's just like, we need to just plug in a spot and, just that's the guy that we have.
Yeah.
They had one NXT guy in it, which was Damien Priest, which I think you can tell that he's primed for a call up. He had, he was tied for most eliminations in the match with 4. He eliminated Kane, who's, one of the greatest Royal Rumble performers of all time, if you're into that kind of fake stat stuff. But I mean, that's still a big rub.
Oh yeah.
He was in for a little while. So, obviously they're going to be doing something with him. Everybody else, it seemed like everybody else had a plan to be there. They only had, I think, going into this, 9 spots open anyway. Yeah.
And there were a lot of people, though, asking questions about, like, where other people were. Like, we got Bobo Lashley, but we didn't get Cedric Alexander or Shelton Benjamin.
They were never announced for it.
Yeah.
They just weren't announced for it. And it's like, I'm sure they could have used them if they needed them, if they had like a big thing where the men's Rumble match got kind of messed up, but that doesn't seem to have happened here. It seems like everybody who was announced came out. There was nobody missing from the list. Let's just put it that way. Keith Lee was never announced for it, which was lucky for them. I suppose. And the rest, it was like Kane was was a nice surprise. Always good, see him get 2 more eliminations, which I think puts him at number 1 for all time eliminations over Shawn Michaels. I think they were tied at 39 or something like that. But the big one coming back was Christian.
Oh yeah,
because when he did the thing the night after the Backlash pay-per-view, where it was like Edge tore his triceps, now we have to kind of hot shot a couple things. It was very clear that Christian wasn't cleared to do anything.
No.
It's like Orton gave him the safest punt kick of all time. He didn't, there was no attack. It was just like, Ric Flair gave him a lollipop low blow, and that was it. And I was like, well, I guess it's a shame. Christian with all the concussions could never get cleared again, but he got cleared, and he looked great, and
did simple stuff. Nothing.
Did simple things.
Yeah. Just do a couple of unprettiers. Grab onto people's ankles. Not even any heavy lifting for that matter. But no strain at all.
It was awesome to see him. And even like I just love that shot that they got of Edge, where he sees his storyline brother coming down, but in real life one of his best friends coming down after years of wanting to get back in and end his career his way, just like Edge got to do. But Edge had a neck injury and he has a brain injury. So it was probably a longer road for Christian, or an even tougher road for Christian, because Edge just had to get a surgery. Christian had to kind of like wait it out and hope and see, and pray.
Yeah.
And when he saw Christian coming down the ramp and the emotion, like I don't care who you are, if you can't connect to that and feel that, like right here, like that's what I watch wrestling for.
And,
like
I got to tell you, this whole night, it was that reaction and Bianca Belair's win. Her reaction. Okay. This was a night full of great reactions.
Yes.
I mean, just beautifully done. Beautifully done.
They did a really, I mean, it wasn't even like, I can't even say like they did a great, it was like, the actual real emotion of the situation took over them. It's no longer a script. Now it's real. And that's what, like, I think that's the biggest complaint of the product, isn't it, Doug? Yeah. That, you script things and it's no longer coming from the person and, how they, think the character should react. It's just this kind of sterile kind of thing. So when you see things like this, when you see Edge tearing up and the big hug, and it's like, that's not just a scripted spot. That's real. That's real emotion. Like Bianca Belair calling out to her parents. I would have loved if she called out Montez Ford too. I don't know if there was a restriction on that or whatever. Yeah. Because they definitely seem to want to be making her own person without separate from the Street Profits. But she was emotional, and I was like, this feels like a fucking big deal. This feels, like like somebody really cares. You know, like sometimes I watch these shows, I'm like, God, it doesn't seem like anybody gives a shit.
It's, for God, it's now been what, 10 months that we've had a red applause sign hanging from the ceiling instead of actual people cheering. Okay, it's been so long since we've had actual crowds saying the actual chants rather than just pressing a button and we get what the producers want us to expect us to hear or something like that.
Right.
But there's one thing that they just cannot press a button on, and that's just the emotional, visceral facial expressions that you get from the performers in the ring. Okay,
Yep.
And not just Edge, Christian, and Bianca Belair, but also just the small little things. Yes, I know the Lacey Evans Charlotte Flair program is really stupid, but damn it, Lacey Evans, tossing people over the top rope, and she's got that look on her face like, you nasty. Great stuff. Okay, great stuff. It's stuff like that that no producer can press a button on. It's just organic. It just feels free-formed. And that's what we tune in for the most, is the stuff that is free-formed, and you just don't expect it. We want the unexpected. And even something as small as this is what we want, right. And watch them. They're going to try to plan it out again. And, this is what we're going to get Monday night, Mikey.
I'll take it, because these are two pros that have been there, done that. And, they can turn a turd into a something watchable, I would say.
So I thought you were going to say something mistaken. That's not a turd.
In the crying of Bianca Belair, she did mention Montez Ford. I have to go back and listen to it, but I didn't hear her say his name initially. But she was super emotional, and it was just such a cool moment. It was really, really great.
Yeah. Gosh, where else can we go from this show? I mean, I know there were other matches.
Yeah.
And we could,
absolutely.
Let me see. Roman Reigns, Kevin Owens, last man standing. There were some issues with this match.
Yeah. Like they actually had a pretty good brawl. I thought. Yeah. I thought the brawling was really great. I thought the backstage stuff was good. There was a few dramatic moments in there. There was even a spot, and I don't know if this was a mistake or what happened, but when they were fighting back after the swanton to the tables, and they were fighting in the outfield, it looked like, of Tropicana Field, heading toward the gorilla position, the Miz's stuff was on the table.
Yeah.
And the Money in the Bank briefcase was right there, and I was like, God, that is just some really, really good like, if they're foreshadowing something, that was really well done.
That was great. Yeah.
Something to put in your mind. No, and the announcers didn't even mention it, which I don't know if it's just a thing of bad announcing where because there's so many times where I'm like, tell the fucking story, and they're not telling you the story. And it's like, I see the story. Tell us what, explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they, I didn't know if it was that or if it was just like Miz just left his fucking briefcase there, but I was like, that was effective, because now I was waiting for that. And, it made the dramatic moments even more dramatic. But when they could not get those fucking handcuffs off, that killed sometimes a botch happens and it just happens and you move on. But when it's the finish of the match, oh boy.
Well, don't get me wrong. There are happy little accidents.
Of course.
Like leaving that Money in the Bank. That briefcase sitting out on the table. I sat there. I was staring right at it. Two things in my mind. Wait, this is some good foreshadowing. It could happen. Or number two, this was a mistake, but there are a lot of people right now that have just woken up from this.
Yeah.
All right. This match could have been lulling some people to sleep, but if they caught a glimpse of that briefcase, they're wide awake now. And who knew it would be something like that, rather than Kevin Owens tumbling off the top of a forklift or Roman Reigns spearing a guy through the screen.
Right.
The handcuff botch. I totally I totally get that, it's the finish of the match. You shouldn't botch it. But this one should have been avoided easily. Okay? Well, no, not just trick handcuffs. It's Paul or Roman should be giving a signal to the ref who is right there behind them. They can give him a wink with their eye, give him a signal that, okay, you can come out now and start counting. That's all they had to do. That's the only thing. The handcuffs, yes, it could take forever for the handcuffs to go. You know how to cure that? Kevin Owens is trying to get up. You show him trying to grog on over. Have Roman kick him in the ankles or something. Or have Paul Heyman just give him the key and he just pokes him in the eye, or low blows him. Do something to draw it out. This can be done. It's simple. It's really, really simple. But instead, we had a ref come out. He made it to the count of 6, but now we're not showing the ref anymore in the camera shot. Instead, we're getting Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns doing craft work underneath a light.
It was crazy. They've been actually, in my mind, overusing handcuffs lately.
Yes.
Like to the point where it's not fucking special. And literally anybody who gets handcuffed immediately, oh my God, I've never seen that before. They did a Superman thing and broke out of the handcuffs. It's like, really?
Yeah.
Like, we don't have the breakaway handcuffs. We don't even have the one with the little fake latch on the corner, like the kitty handcuffs. Yeah. Like, we're using legit handcuffs here. And Paul Heyman is trying to fucking see in the dark underneath this lighting trellis where there's no light. The lights are pointing the other direction.
You could
and trying to find this
fake it.
Little hole. Like, you kidding me?
You could fake it, The other thing, too, when they were saying Roman's got something in his hand, in my mind, oh, it's a hammer. Oh, it's a wrench. Oh, it's a crowbar. It's got to be something to cause blunt trauma. Come on, give me something here. But no, handcuffs? We're going back to this. I believe it's the 3rd or 4th handcuff spot we've gotten in the past 14 or 15 months.
Without question. I mean, they're using them on NXT. It's like,
yeah.
Really? Like that was, I mean, I think if it was just a spot in the match, just like one passing spot in the match, whatever, it happened, and it took a little while, but they built to a good finish anyway. But this was the finish. You have a referee come out there, start counting. He stops at 5. There's mass confusion. Kevin Owens just standing around now. And then finally Roman Reigns gets out. They make some bullshit excuse like, the referee's saying he's at a vertical base. It's like, nice save, guys. We know he can't get the fuck out. And then as soon as he's out, no drama, go right to the finish, guillotine choke, and he's out.
And
there was no drama there at all. It really hurt what was a good brawl match.
And on top of that, let me see. Chokehold? Really? You mean all of the big tumble spots that Owens was doing, all of the table spots that we were doing, all of the blunt force trauma everyone was taking, but what ends this is a chokehold? Come on. I need someone knocked out, okay? After everything that you've done, either knock him out or you do a trick finish, like when Kevin Owens broke out the forklift. I was like, pin him with the forklift. Do a callback to halftime heat. Please do it. Then have Heyman run out and try to move the forklift or something.
The problem is, he did the callback to halftime heat, I think, last year or something like that.
Yeah.
Like they have done that callback. I forget who it was with. Might have been like a Braun Strowman thing or something.
I think so, yeah. I think it was Braun Strowman.
But I was like, it was just as goofy as halftime heat with the goofy camera angles that are just totally like, where did that camera come from? Yeah. Okay, we're watching a movie now. Okay, cool.
So end that.
Let's talk with a little of Goldberg here.
Oh yeah. Gasserific.
Yeah. Have you seen enough? 2 minutes and 30 seconds that match went.
All the talk and Goldberg working like workers do throughout the week, because workers always got to work, and those that love getting worked love hearing about the work. Goldberg saying that he was a relief pitcher for this match. The reason that they had it was they asked for a relief pitcher. So you call on Goldberg. 2.5 minutes to close out this 9th inning. That is Drew McIntyre as champion. Are you convinced that Drew McIntyre is a thing, or did we really need this at all?
You know what? I think I definitely think it's effective for Goldberg to raise his hand. I think that there's still some power in the visual, even though the visual has been done to death. You know, Goldberg hasn't had those moments though, you know, where he's endorsing somebody. You know, usually it's just like he goes in there and fucks somebody up and he leaves, right? It's like, you know, he certainly didn't endorse The Fiend last year. He certainly didn't endorse Braun Strowman. He rolled out of the ring and he was gone. You know, so I think Bill Goldberg's really like the last guy that hasn't, you know, raised somebody's arm and pointed to them and said like, you know, this guy's the real fucking deal. Yeah. So maybe to like, you know, a WCW fan, like I know my cousin definitely tuned in tonight because Goldberg was on. So was it effective? Yes. What, you know, is it kind of, you know, an indictment on their creative process and their ability to build stars, that the only way you can get people back is to bring in 54-year-old Bill Goldberg? Yes. But at the end of it, you know, Brett was texting me. He's like, you know, he goes, that was pretty fucking cool. You know, Goldberg raising McIntyre's arm. I was like, yeah, that's what it's all about. You know, to people that, you know, followed wrestling from back in the day that maybe got pulled in that haven't watched it in a while, and to see Bill Goldberg, you know, the last remaining star of the Attitude Era, pretty much, you know, or that you know, Monday Night War, endorsing their champion that they've been pushing for the better part of a year. It's effective. It's effective, and especially, you know, as he goes in probably to WrestleMania to face another legend in Edge, you know, it's a good look, and it's a good thing for McIntyre, especially as they continue to move forward with him, because he's definitely the guy. You know, other than Roman Reigns, he's the guy.
There is a big difference between trying to validate Drew McIntyre for us and trying to validate Roman Reigns to us. Way back when. Okay, we did it with The Rock, did it with John Cena, we did it with Triple H, and every time, no one was convinced. It did not work. But somehow it's working here with Brock Lesnar, with Randy Orton for Lord knows how long a program that was. And now it was a long one. And now we're looking here with Goldberg, and now another potential one with Edge. But is it about time that we stop saying that this is all about validation? You know,
I don't think all of them were about validation, but this one certainly was. You know, I mean, McIntyre really hasn't been like people have laid down for him. But you know, it's another thing for, like, you know, a legend to walk in, have a match. I mean, he's, like I said, Goldberg's the last remaining legend that there is, pretty much, that they can get. And for him to raise the arm, that's really the first time that's happened to McIntyre since he's been champion. I mean, you know, doing the thing with Hogan at Raw Legends Night, you know, where they're doing the posing backstage and stuff like that. You know, like I guess that's a good rub if you're into Hulk Hogan and stuff like that. But Hogan doesn't do anything where it doesn't directly benefit him as well, you know, and being seen champion, it's like, whatever, you know, like I'm over Hulk Hogan, but Goldberg, that, you know, it's a different story. It was, obviously, I guess they didn't have much for McIntyre in ways of a big match, which, again, an indictment on their creative process, but, you know, they did pull him out of the bullpen here. Goldberg has 2 matches, so he's down to 1. I don't know what else they're going to do with him this year. I don't know. You know, you think about it. He had his 2 matches last year. He has 2 this year, and I think next year is the final year of his contract. So he's got three matches remaining. I highly doubt Goldberg's going to want to sign another contract at 55. You saw how gassed he was after 4 minutes of work. You know, if you think about the pre-match stuff and the actual match itself, maybe 4 or 5 minutes. Yeah. And he talks about, like, he's talked about in the past, the mental stress and the physical stress of getting himself to be Goldberg, because he's not going to like, say what you want about Bill Goldberg. He's not the greatest worker in the fucking world, but the guy understands professional wrestling, and that it's not how well you work. It's the presence. It's the presentation. That almost 90% of everything is like the presentation.
Oh yeah.
In order for him to present as the character that people know, he has to work his fucking ass off. And I doubt after next year he'll want to re-sign and continue doing that close to 60, right? So they have to get as much as they can out of Goldberg now. You have 3 more matches left. Who else can he endorse? Throw him in there with those people.
Yeah, well, I mean, you can.
Money's worth, because there's no money in a Goldberg title run now.
No, you're not going to have that. No, you just throw him in there, get that Roman Reigns match that you were supposed to have. That's number one that you can do. You could put the title on him for a hot minute and have Reigns get it right back. Not a problem there.
Not this year.
Not this year. Not this year. Yeah. Then if you wanted maybe another thing, just random tag team shenanigans. Let's do a Teddy Long special. Do the
Dolph Ziggler thing that they did at SummerSlam 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Just have him come out and crush somebody. That people liked it.
I would love him and Mustafa Ali. Sign me up. Oh, sign me up. Give me Ali right then and there. Have him mow down all of Retribution.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say Goldberg versus Retribution at WrestleMania. Book it right the fuck now.
Right now. Just do it. Okay? But don't tarnish the Goldberg thing. I mean, yes, you could have someone go over on him, but let's be a little honest here. That Drew McIntyre just did that. Okay? We don't need to do another thing and have someone go over on Goldberg and lessen the value that it had on Drew McIntyre. Okay.
Of course. Okay. I think my point is just that they're going to get their money's worth out of him, and getting the money's worth is really going to wind up being like, how can he benefit somebody else? And it doesn't have to just be a raising of the arm. Yeah. It could be, somebody just goes over on him or he crushes them. Sometimes even like a squash match against Goldberg is like, you can do a lot with that. Like what if it was Goldberg versus Sami Zayn at WrestleMania and he crushes Sami Zayn, then Sami Zayn lives for another 6 months on conspiracy theories and he keeps going back to Goldberg, beating him at WrestleMania and it wasn't fair.
Not even that. He just does little conspiracy vignettes all over the place, shows up at WrestleMania acting like an asshole, and suddenly Goldberg comes out and spears him. There's your bit. There it is. There's your appearance. It's doing stuff like that. That would really help him. But, God, sign me up for Mustafa Ali. Do it now. Oh, that sounds like fun right there. Yeah. Wow. There were other matches. I don't feel like talking about Sasha Banks right now.
Yeah, I know. The only thing I really just want to say, and we've talked about this before, but stop with the fucking suicide dives. Particularly in women's match. And this is not a sexist thing. It's just, honestly, if some of them really can. Like Candice LeRae hits a beautiful suicide dive, but if you're just hitting a suicide dive because you see everybody else doing it, it's like, oh, that looks easy. You just dive through the ropes. It's not fucking easy.
No.
Okay? Cesaro, who's one of the finest workers that you could find around anywhere in any company, spiked himself on his head a few years ago in that best of 7 match with Sheamus. Mm-hmm. And that was a truly scary spot on a suicide dive that, was it necessary to the match? Did it do anything for the finish? No. Yeah. No. And did this have anything to do with the finish? Did this work in there at any junction? No. It was just like, oh, she's standing around. Oh, wouldn't it be great if she just popped in out of nowhere with a suicide dive? Yeah, in theory, that's great until she lands on her fucking face and bends her legs over her head.
I mean,
it's rare to find a woman that executes it well. And, she's lucky she's flexible because she could have gotten fucked up there.
I was afraid that she landed on her shoulder badly.
I thought she landed on her face. I honestly thought her nose was going to be like this.
I thought she landed on her arm incredibly awkwardly. I thought she could have separated her shoulder. She could have broken her clavicle. She could have dislocated her elbow. That's what looked gruesome to me.
Yeah. Turf Aquembe in the chat saying, like Taker landing on his head. Ivar of the Viking Raiders just a few months ago, the guy needed neck surgery following a suicide dive that was completely unnecessary. They got to stop using dives as a throwaway spot. That's one of the biggest crimes in wrestling right now is that they're doing more and getting less reaction. Now, it's not fair to say that they're getting less reaction right now because of the current circumstances, right, with COVID.
Right.
But even beforehand, the law of diminished returns, God, the fucking dives were dead 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's like what do you do when you can't pull out a dive and people are like, wow, they're just bred to go, ooh, yay, but it's not memorable. Don't you want something like that to be memorable? So it always begs the question of, well, what do I have to do to get a memorable spot? So then you have Kevin Owens going to the top of the WrestleMania sign at WrestleMania 36 and jumping off onto Seth Rollins and dislocating his ankle. And that was an impressive spot, was it not? Did you remember it until I just brought it up, though?
My thing with all this,
you have to kill yourself. You have to kill yourself to be entertaining.
And yeah, suicide dives are old now, and they've become ungodly cliche. I mean, they have become super kick cliche, is what it is. But my bigger issue with the suicide dive conundrum is...
I think you're right, suicide.
Well, it is suicide. But my bigger problem with all of this is... Do you guys know what's happening right now? There is no live audience. You are in front of television screens. You are in front of piped audio. Who are you doing this for? Why are you doing this? Is this how reflexive suicide dives are to performers? If you wanted to get, all right, put yourself in that situation. The sommelier has been sent away. Sasha Banks is sitting there. Hey, I've got my one up and everything. Carmella's gonna do a blindside attack. I can name you 5 different blindside attacks that she could do and give a great expression afterwards that are way safer and way better than what the hell she tried to do and almost killed herself doing tonight. Okay.
How about meeting halfway? Do a baseball slide, right?
Yeah. Not even a baseball slide.
Back up and get fucking run over with a baseball slide.
Round the corner like Strowman and boot her in the face. Round the corner like Strowman and give her a big clothesline. Or, do the baseball slide. Or, by God, if you wanted to, have her take her boot off and throw it at Sasha. You can do so many different things, except for potentially dislocate a body part and put yourself on the shelf for 6 to 9 months at least.
Or worse.
Or worse, all right? But that's what floors me is they're not in front of people. What reaction are you wanting to get? What are you expecting to get? Stop it. Just stop it.
This is going to be like the next thing that WWE really needs to, and I'm praying that it's an omen of things to come with, the 2 women being there, that they're going to start going with their young talents and just and just making a run with it. It's like we're just going to go with what we got, and if WrestleMania sinks this year, well, at least we know where we're at. It'll be a good fucking audit of where we are right now in reality, not steeped in fantasy where it's like, oh, we did great this year. Well, but you had like 15 legends on the fucking card. Now we're going to hopefully have a good audit of where we are. The next thing they need to really start doing is start conditioning the crowd again. And it'll take some time. But I don't think that people are tuning in, and I don't think they'll tune out because you're not doing suicide dives anymore. You're not doing 15, somersault planchas. I mean, Doug, I counted 4 matches in a row on one Raw recently where they did a somersault plancha or a suicide dive.
Yeah.
Multiple times in the match, Doug. Multiple times. Like that's outrageous. It's like, is the athleticism impressive? Yes. But is the room for error and the chance for catastrophe, even if it happens once every few years, it's still something that's completely avoidable and didn't need to happen. Why would you play Russian roulette on throwaway matches.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any sense. They need to start conditioning the crowd to get back to, like, signature moves and just finishers being like the things, like, like actually get into storytelling again, because all this stuff is just mindless nothingness that people don't react to, or they'll react to, but they don't remember it. And it's like, well, at the end of the day, isn't it supposed to be like something that's like, oh my God, wasn't that awesome when this happened? Wasn't that awesome? It's like when I leave a show, it's like, when I was going to shows, it's like, well, that was a great match. It was a lot of fun. I remember cheering a lot, but I couldn't tell you a fucking thing that happened in the match other than the finish.
I guess
I don't remember any spots, because it's all just been done before. It's all just a big blur of flying limbs and body parts, and that's enough. And like I've had this conversation with CJ before too, where it's like, like part of the blame here is the indie scene, for overuse of dives and these marquee people that are like, oh, the work rate. It's like, who gives a fuck about work rate? It doesn't matter. If WWE does it and it's successful and they get back to storytelling and more, I don't want to say traditional wrestling, because that's all, conjecture, but something where a style that everybody can work, that is safe, that isn't going to shorten your career or make you walk with a fucking limp at 45. How about that? How about Randy Orton, who's never done a plancha probably since 2002, has been one of their most hottest stars, for almost 20 years, without doing a single fucking plancha. How about we start working, teaching our people to work that kind of style, because that seems to be successful, and he's had a great career, a long career, and other than, his chronic, hyper flexible shoulders that have caused him time off, where he's now conditioned himself to work around that issue, he hasn't missed any significant time for like a neck injury or anything like that.
The closest Randy came was he did have a collarbone injury. And that was from falling over the top rope and landing awkwardly on the floor.
A freak accident.
It was a freak accident. But that kind of injury happens more often when you're going over the top rope and landing awkwardly on the floor. We've seen it happen numerous times.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Doug, on this, like they always say, it ain't ballet. On the simplest things that, probably wrestling 101, when you get crotched on the top rope, catastrophe can happen. It might happen every 20 years. But I know for a fact that Sean Waltman tore his fucking rectum doing a crotch on the top rope. I know that Dean Malenko tore like his abductor muscle or something like that getting crotched on the top rope. So even like the simplest things are dangerous. So, if there's always like a level of danger associated with wrestling, why are you playing with fire and doing the most dangerous moves in every match on every show? Doesn't matter if it's main event or the WrestleMania main event.
Yeah.
Like you can teach the fans to react differently. They can, because they've done it in the past. They can condition you to get into finishes and this and that. You can condition people to start telling stories in the ring, but it starts with training them at the Performance Center. And I don't think the Performance Center is all that it's hyped up to be. I don't think that they're teaching them the right stuff.
No, I think they are concentrating on, well, I don't know what they're concentrating on in the Performance Center. This is the one thing that I do know, though. It's incredibly fucking lazy to depend on gravity to get a pop. Because gravity does the same damn thing all the time. You want to get a pop, you want to get a reaction when the crowds come back and everything. You want to get a reaction that is all your own, that is unique to yourself, that no one else can do. It takes one of two things, a combination of both, and you are set for life. Number one is a bump. Just a bump. Just a sell. Just a bump, just a sell. From a clothesline, a boot, a punch. Simple. Simple. And it takes one bump is all it takes. All right? Case in point, Braun Strowman. Are you kidding me? All right, Braun Strowman, he got the biggest pop. I want to say one of his biggest pops, first one that he ever got, was just throwing a right hand to Bo Dallas on the outside when The Miz had the Miztourage. The crowd went nuts. Strowman got on a mic going after Rhino and Heath Slater, telling Heath Slater to come get these hands. Done. Sold. That was it. Okay? Some of the best pops that anyone can get is from the simplest of things. Don't use gravity. It does the same damn thing. And you're doing it. It doesn't change. It doesn't make it unique at all. Anyone can fall. Anyone can twist in the air. Anyone can flip in the air. Seriously, regardless of your size, everyone can do it. But no one has a face like yours. No one has a voice like yours. And no one can throw a punch or do a kick or anything else as uniquely as you can. And more to the point, the person taking that punch, kick, or whatever cannot sell it any better than that person. They will sell it individually, different from someone else, and make both of you look fantastic. It is simple. It is simple stuff that doesn't cause injury. I don't understand, and that's why I don't want to question what they do at the Performance Center. I'm not there. I don't know. But the one thing that I do know is that the crop of people that they're getting in there right now, they have not deprogrammed. They have not gotten into their skull that this is a television show. This is a television show. This is not a I'm sorry, it's not a wrestling show. I'm very sorry. And now whatever your definition of a wrestling show is, that you came to the Performance Center, that you were doing all these flips and everything at National Guard armories and 500 attendance high school auditoriums, that might have been wrestling then. But you are now the part of a cast of a television show.
I hate to be that guy, but that ain't wrestling either.
No, it's not. No, it's not, okay? And I'm not going to go into what I believe my definition of professional wrestling is, because everyone's got different definitions of professional wrestling. But this is a television show, period. Number one.
It's subjective, but there are certainly things that are most assuredly not wrestling. Bray Wyatt, indies. Most indies, not all indies. There are some good indies, but...
Otis is wrestling. Otis is professional wrestling.
Yes, he is the definition of professional wrestling. Now, just to further the argument just a little more, like everybody always loses their mind. Oh, Japan is the best. Japan is this. Their biggest star there, Kazuchika Okada. Mm-hmm. His finisher is, what is it, Doug? It's a fucking short arm.
It's a short arm clothesline. Ripcord clothesline. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
That's it. That's all he does. He doesn't do dives, so like this whole thing about, oh, you have to do 1 million dives for your work rate and in order to be taken seriously. No, your argument doesn't hold water if that's the case.
Yeah.
So do the right thing. Do the right thing and start training these fucking people to have longer careers, better careers, and in the end, it'll be better for their lives, but it'll also be better for the business. Now, this was a great show. We spent too much time talking about suicide dives, but it's a symptom of a larger problem, that they're having. But they made some really good strides in the show, and I don't want that to get lost tonight. They had
this was a good show. Yes. Yeah, this was a good show. I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, like the Randy Orton Edge thing. It's like yes, some people are going to complain that they're old and stuff like that, but then you just turn to the Women's Royal Rumble and see that your two youngest stars were in the final two, and yeah, like Edge and Randy Orton have definitely had their moments in the sun, but that story is so good that sometimes it just needs to be told. Last year, Randy Orton took Edge's opportunity away from him, and this year, Edge took Randy Orton's opportunity away from him. And it's an easy story to tell. It's a great story. Again, this probably would have been even more effective if they had even advertised Edge at any point leading up to Monday Night Raw last week, so people might actually know that he was going to be on this show. But that's neither here nor there.
I believe Alexa Bliss and Billie Kay were the only two, or maybe Jackson Baszler even mentioned there was a Women's Royal Rumble match. The announcers sure as hell never announced that there was a Women's Royal Rumble match. They never even hyped up the Women's Royal Rumble match at all.
This is some of the worst build I've ever seen for Rumble.
Yeah, this was. But by far, are we saying this was one of the best? Absolutely not. But there have been way worse Royal Rumbles. That's for darn sure.
This wasn't the best, and it certainly wasn't the worst. It was very, very good. It was very good, and it didn't feel long. It was the perfect length. There wasn't too many matches beforehand or after. The both Rumbles had a nice, eclectic assortment of legend comebacks and fun spots and dramatic moments and emotion. Both of these Rumbles, were chock full of emotion.
Right. Yeah.
And that's all. That's what I want to see. It's like I watch wrestling for moments like that, and you had it twice on the show.
Yeah, Lewis asking the hard pressing questions. Was it mediocre? No, it wasn't mediocre. No, sorry. Your picks though for the Fantasy Rumble, Lewis, that was mediocre. Okay. No, we're going to leave. Okay. Yes, we are looking forward to a history is going to be made at WrestleMania. After all the talk we were doing there about one match in particular, Sasha Banks versus Bianca Belair is going to make history at WrestleMania at being the first match for two African-American females face off against each other. Great.
In theory, if she goes for Sasha Banks, which
she does, and we hope she does,
Yeah.
But yeah, lots of stuff to look forward to. My WrestleMania whiteboard is torn to hell, so we're going to definitely talk about how we're going to book WrestleMania next week. That's for darn sure. I will be taking 3 shots of tequila because I locked Daniel Bryan to win the Men's Royal Rumble. I locked Alexa Bliss to win the Women's Royal Rumble. And I thought Velveteen Dream was going to make his Raw or SmackDown debut at the Royal Rumble match.
I'm pretty sure I'm getting pied in the face on my show because I'm pretty sure Victoria picked Edge, and I know I picked Daniel Bryan as well.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. Lots of stuff involving food and alcohol going on this week on WrestleView's programming. Yes, God dang, it's been a show. Yeah, that's what's going on. Oh yeah, and also we had the Fantasy Rumble that we had going on the Wrestleview Media Facebook page. The winner of the Fantasy Rumble was Dave Byrne. He picked the team of Randy Orton, Big E, and Otis as his team. Randy Orton was the last one eliminated and came in as entrant number 2, netting him a big fat score. Big E lasted a good long bit, and even though Otis had a score of -7, he still won. And so he will be making my predictions for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view that is still scheduled next month, I believe. I believe it
Allegedly
is.
So. Allegedly so.
I guess so. So
the last pay-per-view in America on the traditional WWE network.
Yeah. So we'll see. And I think, is that the last pay-per-view? We're getting close to the lease going up on them being at Tropicana Field.
That all depends on, I get, like right now I know the Players Union is trying to get them to push spring training back a little bit. So they might have some extra time on there. Yeah.
So these are coming up to some very interesting times.
Yeah, they're going to find a spot pretty soon.
Yeah. You know what's going to be even more interesting is you're going to be watching your television of the Raw, SmackDown, and NXT Persuasion and not hearing people say subscribe to the WWE Network.
Right.
Prepare yourself, though. In the next coming weeks, you're going to hear nothing but peacock, 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 peacock.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. You thought it was horrible when it was tout? Oh, you ain't heard nothing yet.
Or even $9.99. Remember they brought out the birthday cake for Hulk Hogan, and it had $9.99 on the candles. It's like, wow, they are really pushing that one.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show you, they turn $9.99 into a fucking T-shirt. They can build anybody up to be a star. I don't want to hear the shit that they can't build, that they can't work with somebody or this and that. If you can make a star out of $9.99, the price point, you can make a star. You should have more stars than you have right now.
Yeah, you should. Mishoon being he's asking, how many people are off the milk carton? Oh, so many people got off the Tucker showed up last Monday. He was off the milk carton. But Cutler and Blake are still there. A lot of people left the milk carton due to the Royal Rumble and the Superstar Spectacle. That was last Tuesday. Indu Share off the milk carton. But they'll be on it for a very long time because of the color green. But brace yourselves. We are 3 weeks away from christening a brand new golden gallon in Kona Reeves. We'll see.
Wow, that's a name I have not heard in almost a year.
Yeah, that's why we haven't seen him since February the 19th episode of NXT, where he was squashed in less than 25 seconds by the North American champion Keith Lee.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. And then watch out, because the week following that, we christen Mansoor as a member of the Golden Gallon, because we haven't seen him since the Super Showdown pay-per-view out of South Dakota. Yeah. He's been on 205 Live. But he's on NXT's roster. He's there on their page.
Yeah, he got squashed by Keith Lee on February 19th, 2020. Wow.
Yeah, Kona Reeves. He has appeared on NXT UK in a small amount of time, but not on NXT or any kind of WWE television programming.
Wow, Pro Fight DB doesn't even have the NXT UK tapings. The last time he appeared on, according to them, was November 16th, 2019.
But I'm waiting for the one day I'm waiting for, though, and it's going to be a while, but I can't wait for this one, is sometime in June, we will christen Mojo Rawley.
Oh, God, that's a glorious thing that I have not heard his fucking name in quite some time.
Yeah.
Or have to watch him perform. Like that right there, I shouldn't even complain about anything that I watch on Raw, because it could be worse. They could be pushing Mojo Rawley.
It could be worse. They could have Mojo Rawley facing off against Shorty G or Chad Gable for the third time as we try to repackage Chad Gable.
Count your blessings.
All right, so that's... Anyway, that's going to do it for the show. I pitch it over to Mikey. There's stuff that's happening on Monday?
There's stuff that's happened on Monday. We're doing a show Monday night, covering Monday Night Raw. Me and my darling wife Victoria. If you want to tune in and watch people get pied in the face and just have some fun, even though I like to think that as bad as these shows are, we still have a lot of fun with everybody recapping these shows and chatting with it's a very interactive show. We rely a lot on our chat room. So tune in tomorrow. Check us out there. I also, I guess I'll just break some news right now that Mr. Roy Nemmer has bought some podcasting equipment. He wants to start, dipping his toe into the podcasting waters. So he may or may not be doing a show this week. So if he is, and I will confirm that with him. Hopefully, I'll have some more news tomorrow night on Post Raw. Tune in after SmackDown on Friday night, and with Mr. Roy Nemmer as he gets SmackDown. Breaking
news from, I don't know what kind of sources he will have on his show. I know that you guys have the best sources on your show, because someone's going to get a pie in the face.
That's pretty right. That's pretty correct.
My show, you guys were asking about sources that I had today. I had 3 Irish coffees, so I made sure that I stayed awake for this show. Tune in next week. Wrestleview Weekly, 5 o'clock Sunday night. We're going to do the WrestleMania whiteboard. It's finally WrestleMania times. Let's see how screwed up we made WrestleMania and see how much better it is now. I don't know. 3 shots of tequila are on my docket that I've got to take. 2 of them I'll probably be taking during that show. And yeah, that's going to do it for this show. Everyone, thank you so much for stopping by and listening to us live or on the demand. If like this video, what's your problem? Just like the video. We're not asking you for much. There's a little thumbs up thingy. Is down there. There's a bigger red button that says subscribe. If you haven't pressed that, click on that thingy too. I mean, it just lets us know that we're doing a good job and then that you kind of like it. And if you don't, just click on it anyway and comment that we do a horrible job. We appreciate your opinion. Somewhat. Not unless your name is Goose, then we don't appreciate your opinion. That's going to do it for Wrestleview Live. Again, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Like, share, and subscribe. That's what all the jack-offs say on Twitter. Wear a mask. Don't be an asshole. Think of others before yourself. And as always, you know the drill. Know when you're being sold to.